Hey, what's up guys? Josh Thomas here from TheBitBlock.com. And you know, I think the most unique collectible in the Animal Crossing series have got to be the Gyroids. I mean, can you think of any other item in Animal Crossing that is creepy, cool, cute, and totally addictive to collect? Because I know I can't. At least not all four of those things. So, I don't know, lately I've just been thinking a whole lot about how cool it would be to have my very own real-life versions of Gyroids to display on a shelf. And so, as you can see, I pretty much did just that. And then I thought it would be even cooler to sort of help you guys out and assist you in making your own real-life Gyroids. So that is basically what we're going to be doing here today. Alright? But before we jump into things, it's a good idea to make a checklist of all the supplies you are going to need to make them. So you know what? Let's do this. Alright, so you're going to need some clay, obviously. I prefer to use this air-dry modeling clay. It's great because it hardens on its own, and it's white, so it's really easy to paint on. You can find this at basically most stores, including Target, Walmart, Joann Fabrics, or Michaels. It's pretty common here in America. Next, you're also going to need some toothpicks, but not nearly this many. I just like looking at all the colors. Speaking of colors, decide which gyroid or gyroids you want to make and pick up some of these little bottles of paint. Again, these can be found in many stores, but be sure to buy acrylic paints so they don't appear shiny. You want them to look dull on the gyroid. I really find that it looks much more authentic if the gyroid is not shiny. It's a good idea to have a piece of tinfoil to work on top of. This way you can spin the gyroid around when you're painting it without having to pick it up. And finally, grab a few paintbrushes of various sizes. Basically a large one and a thin one will get the job done. Alright, so step 1. Decide how big you want to make your gyroid. In the game, there are normal, mini, fat, and tall sizes. So I decided for the average normal gyroid, maybe about 5 inches works pretty well. Today, I'm going to be making a tall nebuloid, so he should be a little bit taller and skinnier than the average gyroid. It's definitely important to have a photo handy at all times when making a gyroid, because referencing it is going to be super helpful. So start out by making the main body. Take your time with shaping and molding it. Try to smooth out all the cracks, creases, and major bumps in the clay for a much better final result. This is a pretty important step, so make sure you do it right. Step 2, grab a paintbrush or a pen and use the bottom of it to hollow out the eyes and mouth from the clay. Make sure you place them in the proper position, not too high or too low, and get them the right distance apart from each other. Now, some gyroids don't actually even have eyes like this, so obviously don't do this if you don't need to. Some of them would require you paint their eyes on, for example. Step 3. Now that you have the face molded, it's time to work on the arms. Break a toothpick in half and stick one piece into the clay on the right side and the other piece on the left side. These will help hold the gyroid's arms, so be sure to place them properly, because obviously that's pretty important. I find that the arms are just underneath the eyes. Next, begin to mold the two arms, making sure they're the right proportions to the body. Then, bend them in the middle so it looks like they have an elbow. Also, be sure the hand part of its arm is a bit smaller and has a flat top. Now, take the arms and push them onto the toothpicks. You'll want them to look good and actually stay on the body, so now you'll have to grab another toothpick and slowly but surely begin to pull and pinch the clay from the base of the arm so that it molds onto the body. Don't be too harsh with this though, but make sure it creates a good connection. The better you do this, the more stable the arms will be when they dry. In step 4, we're going to make the bottom ring around the base of the gyroid. So basically, you'll have to make a kind of long strip of clay and keep wrapping it around the gyroid's base until it's the right size. Once it is, pinch the two sides together in the back, and make sure there's some clear space underneath this ring part. Now begin to push and rub and sculpt this ring onto the gyroid's body with a toothpick. And if you're having some stability issues with your gyroid and it's not standing upright, just take a knife to the bottom and even things out. Step 5 is all about making the gyroid's top. Now, a lot of these little guys are different, so this process may require that you use slightly different directions. For the tall nebuloid, I'm going to make a disc shape from the clay that is just a little bit bigger than the gyroid's head. It's a good idea to sort of roll the clay against the desk like I'm doing here because it gives it a nice flat edge. I'm also going to make a cone shape to go on top of that, and just like the arms, I'm pinching both pieces together with a toothpick. After that, the toothpick comes in handy once again as I'm going to poke it into the top of the head. Then by covering the toothpick with a thin little layer of clay, this is going to act as the little antenna. And after that, it's just a simple matter of putting the ball on top. So, as you can see, at this point, we're looking at a totally naked gyroid, which is a little weird, but it is pretty much done being sculpted. Now you're gonna wanna let it dry for just a little bit, maybe like an hour or so that you're not painting on mushy clay. So step 6 is all about painting. And you know, I probably really don't need to explain to you how to paint. Like I said before, use acrylic-based paints so that the paint will show up dull, and try your best to get the colors accurate. Even though this gyroid doesn't require it, you can also use markers for fine lines, give the gyroid a dirty effect to its texture by slightly mixing up colors, and even using a cotton swab to make a perfect circle with paint. So, you know, you can use different things like markers, cotton swabs, and whatnot to get the job done more accurately. So there you have it. It's a finished, tall nebuloid. I think it's time to add him to my collection. Alright, well guys, I hope that you've had fun learning how to make your very own gyroids here today. And actually, I hope you really do this because I'd like to see them myself. There will be links in this video's description to, you know, all sorts of social media sites with the BitBlock, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and whatnot. And be sure to send me a picture of whatever you create. I'm really seriously interested in seeing everybody making a whole bunch of gyroids and whatnot. And yeah, be sure to share this video on all those social media sites so that the whole world can start making their very own real gyroids. It's pretty addictive though, I gotta say. I only planned on making 2 of them, and I ended up making 6, and I will probably make even more. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, and Mir Joshi, will see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching this video from the BitBlock. If you want to stay up to date on tons of exclusive Nintendo content, be sure to subscribe by clicking here. And if you don't want the fun to end, you can check out more Nintendo coverage by clicking over here.